Have you ever wondered why some relationships thrive while others fall apart? What if I told you there's a hidden layer to understanding men, a key that unlocks deeper connection, trust, and harmony in your life? Imagine being able to see beyond the surface, past the silence or the occasional frustration, and truly grasp what drives him. Wouldn't that change everything? Today we're diving deep into something powerful. Male weaknesses every woman must know. By the time you finish this video, you'll walk away with insights so transformative, they might just redefine how you view the people around you. And here's the best part. By staying till the end, you'll uncover a secret strategy that can instantly shift any relationship dynamic in your favor. But first, let's talk about why this matters. Relationships are the foundation of our lives. They shape who we are, influence how we grow, and determine the kind of legacy we leave behind. Yet, too often, misunderstandings creep in like cracks in a once solid wall. We assume we know someone, only to find ourselves blindsided when things don't go as planned. Why does this happen? Because we focus on actions without understanding the emotions driving them. Men, like all humans, carry vulnerabilities within them. Silent struggles that shape their behavior, decisions, and even their silences. These aren't flaws, they're opportunities for connection. Opportunities waiting for someone brave enough to understand them. Think about it. Have you ever felt frustrated because he didn't open up? Or maybe you've wondered why he reacts strongly to certain situations but seems indifferent to others? The truth is, these moments aren't random. They stem from deeply ingrained patterns shaped by psychology, biology, and society. Understanding these patterns doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It means seeing the bigger picture. It means stepping into his world, not to fix him, but to meet him where he is. When you do this, magic happens. Walls come down, trust builds, love grows. Now, before we dive deeper, let me ask you another question. Do you believe that true strength lies in vulnerability? Most people think strength is about power, control, or never showing weakness, but science tells us otherwise. Human beings are wired for connection, and connection starts with authenticity. For men, however, showing vulnerability isn't always easy. Society has taught them to suppress their emotions, to man up no matter what. So when they struggle, they often hide it behind anger, withdrawal, or indifference. What looks like stubbornness could actually be fear. What feels like rejection might simply be insecurity. This isn't an excuse, it's insight. And insight is your superpower. Here's the thing, knowledge changes perspective. Once you realize that his actions aren't personal attacks but reflections of his inner battles, you gain clarity. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally. You become the calm in his storm, the steady hand guiding him through chaos. That's what empowerment looks like for both of you. Because when one person grows, the other follows. Together, you rise higher than either could alone. So why should you care about male weaknesses? Because understanding leads to compassion, and compassion transforms relationships. Whether it's your partner, brother, father, or friend, knowing what drives him allows you to connect on a level most people never reach. It gives you the tools to navigate challenges with grace and wisdom. More importantly, it reminds you that everyone carries burdens invisible to the eye, including him. As we move forward, prepare yourself for revelations that will challenge what you thought you knew. Each section will peel back another layer, revealing truths that are both surprising and empowering. By the end, you won't just understand men better, you'll understand yourself better too. After all, relationships are mirrors reflecting our own strengths and weaknesses. And remember, I promised you a reward for watching till the end. Here's a hint. It's not just information. It's a game-changing mindset shift that can transform any relationship overnight. All you need to do is stay with me. Keep an open heart and let the words sink in. Are you ready to take the first step toward deeper connections and unstoppable personal growth? Let's begin. Understanding is the bridge that connects two souls. But to cross that bridge, we must first recognize its foundation, the raw, unfiltered truth about human nature. We all wear masks, don't we? Smiles that hide pain, confidence that masks insecurity, strength that shields vulnerability. For men, these masks often feel heavier because society has conditioned them to believe showing weakness is unacceptable. Yet, Beneath those layers lies a truth we cannot ignore. Everyone yearns to be seen, heard, and accepted for who they truly are. This isn't just a need, it's a universal craving, one that drives so much of what we do, say, and even avoid. When you strip away the noise, you'll find that awareness is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. It's not just about knowing someone else, it's about understanding yourself in relation to them. When you become aware of another person's struggles, their fears, their silent battles, something incredible happens. You stop judging and start connecting. You begin to see the humanity in them, the shared experiences that make us all vulnerable. And guess what? Vulnerability isn't scary when you realize it's the thread that binds us together. It's the glue that holds relationships intact, whether romantic, familial, or platonic. Think about the last time you felt misunderstood. How did it make you feel? Lonely? Frustrated? Maybe even invisible? Now imagine carrying that weight every day, unable to express it openly because the world expects you to have it all together. That's the reality many men face. Their silence isn't indifference, it's survival. They've been taught to equate emotions with weakness, to bottle up their feelings instead of sharing them. But here's the irony. Suppressing emotions doesn't eliminate them, it amplifies them, turning small frustrations into big explosions, quiet doubts into overwhelming insecurities. This is where your role comes in, not as a savior, but as a guide. Awareness gives you the ability to spot the signs before they escalate. A sudden outburst might not be anger, it could be pent-up frustration looking for an outlet. A withdrawn attitude might not be rejection, it could be exhaustion from carrying burdens too heavy to bear. When you approach these moments with curiosity instead of judgment, you create space for healing. You show him that it's okay to let his guard down, that he doesn't have to face the world alone. In doing so, you not only strengthen your bond, but also empower him to embrace his authentic self. But awareness isn't just about observing, it's about action. Once you understand the root cause of certain behaviors, you can respond in ways that foster growth rather than resistance. Instead of reacting defensively, ask questions. Instead of assuming intentions, seek clarity. Compassion doesn't mean tolerating poor behavior, it means addressing it with kindness and patience. By choosing empathy over anger, you set the tone for healthier interactions. Over time, this builds trust, a currency more valuable than gold in any relationship. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on how transformative awareness can be. Imagine walking through life with eyes wide open, seeing people not as puzzles to solve, but as stories waiting to unfold. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to learn, to grow, to connect. The man in your life isn't just a collection of habits or quirks. He's a complex tapestry woven from experiences, beliefs, and dreams. When you take the time to understand that tapestry, you honor his humanity, and in return, he honors yours. Awareness also teaches us something profound about ourselves, the power of perspective. The way we view others shapes the way we treat them, and the way we treat them shapes the outcomes we experience. If you choose to see struggle instead of stubbornness, fear instead of apathy, you shift the dynamic entirely. You move from conflict to collaboration, from misunderstanding to mutual respect. And isn't that what every relationship deserves? So as we continue this journey together, remember this. Awareness isn't passive. It's active, intentional, and deeply rewarding. It challenges you to look beyond surface-level behaviors and uncover the emotions driving them. It invites you to step into someone else's shoes, not to change them, but to meet them halfway. Because at the end of the day, relationships aren't about fixing each other. They're about growing alongside one another. And growth begins with understanding. Every human being carries a silent script, a narrative written by experiences, shaped by expectations, and colored by emotions. For men, this script often includes lines they're afraid to read aloud, lines that speak of doubt, fear, and longing. These aren't flaws, they're fragments of humanity that make them who they are, but here's the truth. These vulnerabilities, if left unacknowledged, can become barriers. They manifest as walls, masks, or even behaviors that seem confusing or frustrating. To truly connect, we must learn to see these pieces not as weaknesses, but as opportunities for deeper understanding. Think about it. What happens when you try to ignore something that's right in front of you? It doesn't disappear. Instead, it lingers, growing louder until it demands attention. The same is true for emotional struggles. When a man feels unseen, unheard, or misunderstood, those buried emotions don't vanish. They resurface in ways that can strain relationships. A sharp word, a cold shoulder, or an unexpected outburst. These aren't random acts. They're signals. Cries for help disguised as reactions, and when you recognize them for what they are, you hold the key to transformation. Now, let's talk about what male weaknesses really mean. They aren't signs of failure or inadequacy. On the contrary, they're proof of effort, the effort to navigate life's challenges while carrying burdens no one else sees. Society has long told men to toughen up, to equate sensitivity with weakness. But vulnerability isn't a flaw, it's a strength. It takes courage to face fears, to admit doubts, to embrace imperfection. When you redefine these so-called weaknesses as acts of bravery, your perspective shifts entirely. You stop seeing him as someone who needs fixing and start seeing him as someone who needs support. This shift matters because it changes how you show up in the relationship. Instead of frustration, you bring patience. Instead of criticism, you offer compassion. You create a safe space where he feels free to drop the armor, even if just for a moment. That freedom is priceless. It allows authenticity to flourish, trust to deepen, and love to grow. And isn't that what every connection deserves? A foundation built on honesty and mutual respect? But here's the beautiful part. Understanding his vulnerabilities doesn't just benefit him, it empowers you too. When you step into someone else's world, you gain clarity about your own. You learn to navigate emotions with grace, to communicate with intention, and to lead with empathy. These skills aren't just tools for relationships, they're tools for life. They teach you how to be present, how to listen deeply, and how to respond thoughtfully. In doing so, you become a beacon of light, not just for him, but for everyone around you. Let's pause for a moment and consider the ripple effect of this understanding. When one person chooses empathy over judgment, the entire dynamic shifts. Walls crumble, hearts open, and connections strengthen. This isn't just about improving one relationship, it's about creating a culture of compassion. Imagine a world where people saw each other's struggles not as obstacles, but as invitations to connect. Where vulnerability was celebrated, not shamed. That world starts with you, with the choices you make, the words you speak, and the energy you bring into every interaction. So as we move forward, carry this thought with you. Male weaknesses aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. They're reminders that behind every action lies an emotion, behind every silence lies a story. By choosing to see the humanity in him, you unlock the potential for growth in both of you. Together you rise higher, stronger, and more resilient than ever before. The human mind is a fascinating landscape full of peaks and valleys, light and shadow. For men, this terrain is often shaped by societal expectations that dictate how they should think, feel, and act. But beneath those layers of conditioning lies a truth we must uncover. Men are not immune to the weight of emotion. In fact, their inner world is just as rich and complex as anyone else's. It's in understanding this complexity that we find the keys to unlocking deeper connection and mutual respect. At the core of every decision, reaction, or silence lies a psychological principle, a reason why people behave the way they do. Take validation, for example. Every human craves it, but for many men it's tied directly to their sense of identity and purpose. Society has taught them to measure their worth through achievement, success, and external approval. When these markers falter, even slightly, it can shake their confidence to the core. This isn't vanity, it's survival. They're wired to seek affirmation because it reassures them they're on the right path, that they matter. Understanding this need allows you to meet him where he is, offering encouragement when he needs it most. But there's more to the story. Fear plays a powerful role in shaping behavior, especially fear of failure. Men are often expected to be providers, protectors, and problem solvers. These roles come with immense pressure, and when things don't go as planned, it can feel like the ground beneath them is crumbling. What looks like anger or withdrawal might actually be frustration born from unmet expectations, expectations they've placed on themselves. Recognizing this struggle helps you approach moments of tension with compassion rather than criticism. You begin to see his reactions not as personal attacks, but as reflections of his internal battles. Purpose is another cornerstone of the male psyche. From a young age, men are encouraged to chase goals, build legacies, and leave their mark on the world. While this drive can fuel incredible achievements, it can also lead to burnout or a sense of emptiness if they lose sight of what truly matters. Relationships play a vital role in grounding them, reminding them that success isn't just about accomplishments, it's about connection. By affirming his efforts and celebrating his contributions, no matter how small, you help him find meaning beyond the pursuit of perfection. Now let's talk about resilience. Men are often portrayed as stoic figures who weather storms without flinching. But resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising after each stumble. And here's the secret. Everyone stumbles. The difference lies in how quickly they get back up. And that's where your support comes in. When you acknowledge his strength while gently encouraging vulnerability, you create an environment where growth thrives. He learns that it's okay to lean on others, to share the load, and to embrace imperfection as part of the journey. This understanding does more than strengthen relationships, it transforms them. It shifts the dynamic from transactional to transformational. Instead of focusing solely on surface-level interactions, you tap into something deeper, shared humanity. You remind him that he doesn't have to face life's challenges alone, that together you form a team capable of overcoming anything, and in doing so, you inspire him to become the best version of himself, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. So as we continue exploring these truths, hold on to this thought. Psychology isn't just about explaining behavior, it's about creating bridges. Bridges that connect hearts, minds, and souls. When you understand the principles driving his actions, you move beyond assumptions and step into a space of empathy. This isn't just good for him, it's good for you too. Because when one person grows, the ripple effect touches everyone around them. Emotions are the threads that weave us together, yet for so many men, they remain untangled and unspoken. Society has long whispered a dangerous lie, that strength means silence, that feeling deeply is a sign of fragility. But here's the truth. Emotions aren't weaknesses. They're signals. They tell us what matters, what hurts, and what needs attention. For men, these signals often get buried under layers of expectation, leaving them stranded in a sea of unexpressed thoughts. And when emotions go unshared, they don't disappear. They fester, quietly shaping actions and decisions in ways that can strain even the strongest bonds. Imagine carrying a weight no one else sees, a burden you're told you shouldn't feel, but can't escape. That's the reality for many men. Their emotional struggles aren't loud or obvious because they've been conditioned to suppress them. Instead of expressing pain, they might withdraw. Instead of admitting fear, they may become irritable or distant. These behaviors aren't rejection, they're cries for understanding. When you recognize this pattern, you unlock a new level of connection, one rooted in patience and grace. But how do we bridge this gap? It starts with creating space. Space where vulnerability isn't met with judgment, but with acceptance. We're saying, I'm struggling, doesn't feel like surrender, but like courage. This isn't about forcing him to open up, it's about giving him permission to do so. Sometimes all it takes is a simple question asked with genuine care. How are you really doing? Or a quiet moment where you sit beside him without expecting anything in return. These small acts send a powerful message. His emotions matter, and so does he. Let's not forget, though, that emotional suppression isn't just harmful to relationships. It affects mental health, too. Bottling up feelings leads to stress, anxiety, and even physical ailments over time. Men aren't immune to this toll, yet they're often reluctant to seek help. Why? Because asking for support feels like admitting defeat. But what if we reframed it? What if seeking help was seen as an act of strength, a step toward becoming whole? By normalizing conversations around mental health and emotions, you empower him to prioritize his well-being, not just for himself, but for the people who love him. Now think about the impact of modeling emotional honesty. When you share your own vulnerabilities, you give him permission to do the same. You show him that it's okay to be human, to have moments of doubt or sadness without losing value. This mutual exchange builds trust, deepens intimacy, and creates a partnership based on authenticity. It transforms the dynamic from two separate individuals navigating life alone to a unified team facing challenges side by side. There's beauty in this process, a beauty that lies in seeing someone fully, flaws and all, and choosing to stand with them anyway. Emotional vulnerability isn't something to fear, it's something to celebrate. It's proof that we're alive, that we care, that we're willing to risk discomfort for the sake of connection. And when a man allows himself to be vulnerable with you, it's not just a gift, it's a testament to the safety you've created. So as we move deeper into this exploration, remember this. Emotions are bridges, not barriers. They connect us to ourselves and to each other. When you choose to honor his emotional world, you're not just supporting him. You're fostering a relationship built on trust, empathy, and shared humanity. Together, you create a space where both of you can thrive, unburdened by the weight of unspoken truths. Rejection is a word that carries weight, doesn't it? It's sharp, piercing, and deeply personal. For men, however, rejection often cuts even deeper because it strikes at the core of how they see themselves, through their ability to provide, protect, and succeed. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't just about being turned away. It's about feeling unseen. When a man faces rejection, whether in love, career, or life, it shakes his sense of purpose. He begins to question not just what he did wrong, but who he is. This fear of rejection shapes so much of his behavior, often in ways neither of you may realize. Think about it. How many times has he hesitated before speaking up? How often does he second-guess himself before taking action? Behind those moments lies the shadow of rejection, whispering doubts into his mind. What if I fail? What if she doesn't approve? What if I'm not enough? These questions aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of how much he values connection and acceptance. And while these fears can hold him back, they also reveal something beautiful. His desire to matter, to be valued, to belong. But here's where understanding becomes transformative. When you grasp the depth of this fear, you begin to see his actions through a new lens. His reluctance to share ideas might not be indifference. It could be a fear of judgment. His hesitation to pursue dreams might stem from worrying he'll disappoint those he loves. By recognizing these patterns, you can respond with encouragement instead of frustration. You can remind him that rejection isn't a reflection of his worth. It's simply part of growth. Every no brings him closer to a yes. Every stumble paves the way for strength. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on the power of reassurance. A single word of affirmation can dismantle walls built over years of self-doubt. When you tell him your effort matters or I believe in you, you're not just offering kind words. You're rebuilding his confidence brick by brick. You're showing him that failure doesn't define him. Resilience does. That rejection isn't the end, it's a stepping stone towards something greater. And when he knows you're in his corner, cheering him on no matter what, he finds the courage to keep going. Now, let's talk about reframing rejection together. What if, instead of fearing it, we embraced it as a teacher? Rejection strips away illusions, revealing what truly matters. It pushes us to grow, to adapt, to become better versions of ourselves. For men, learning to navigate rejection with grace is one of the most empowering skills they can develop, and you play a vital role in helping them get there. By modeling acceptance and patience, you create an environment where mistakes are seen as opportunities, not failures. Where trying again feels less daunting because he knows he won't face it alone. This shift changes everything, not just for him, but for your relationship too. When rejection loses its sting, communication opens up. Walls come down, conversations flow freely because there's no fear of judgment hanging over them. Together you build a partnership rooted in trust, knowing that even when things don't go as planned, you'll still stand by each other. That's the kind of bond that withstands anything life throws your way. So, as we continue exploring these truths, carry this thought with you. Rejection isn't the enemy. It's the fire that forges strength. It tests resolve, challenges limits, and ultimately reveals character. When you understand how deeply rejection impacts him, you gain the ability to lift him higher, to help him rise above doubt and fear, Because when someone believes in you, when they remind you of your worth, even in the face of rejection, there's nothing you can't overcome. Appreciation is a quiet force, yet its impact is anything but subtle. It has the power to transform moments into memories, efforts into achievements, and connections into bonds that last a lifetime. For men, appreciation isn't just a nice gesture, it's fuel. It ignites their confidence, validates their hard work, and reminds them that they're seen and valued. But here's the thing, it's not always about grand gestures or elaborate praise. Sometimes it's the simplest acknowledgement that makes the biggest difference. Think about the last time someone truly appreciated you, not with empty words, but with genuine recognition of your effort. How did it make you feel? Seen, valued, maybe even unstoppable? That's exactly how he feels when you take a moment to say, I notice what you're doing and it matters. Men often carry the weight of responsibility on their shoulders, striving to meet expectations without always knowing if their efforts are enough. When you pause to acknowledge those efforts, you lift that weight, even if just for a moment. You remind him that his contributions, big or small, are meaningful. But appreciation goes beyond verbal affirmation. It's in the way you show up, the energy you bring, the little things you do to honor his presence in your life. A heartfelt note, a warm smile, or simply listening without interrupting. All these acts communicate gratitude in ways words alone cannot. They tell him, you're important to me. And when someone feels important, they naturally want to give more, to be more. Appreciation creates a cycle of positivity where both of you inspire each other to keep growing, keep showing up, and keep giving your best. Now let's talk about consistency. Appreciation isn't a one-time event, it's a practice. Just as plants need regular watering to thrive, relationships need steady doses of gratitude to flourish. This doesn't mean you have to constantly shower him with compliments. It means finding opportunities every day to express thanks for who he is and what he does. Whether it's thanking him for helping around the house, acknowledging his thoughtfulness, or celebrating milestones together, consistent appreciation builds a foundation of trust and mutual respect. Over time, it becomes second nature, weaving itself into the fabric of your connection. There's another layer to this, though, one that ties directly to self-worth. When a man feels appreciated, he begins to see himself through your eyes. He starts to believe in his abilities, his value, his potential. This shift is profound because it changes how he shows up in the world. Confidence replaces doubt, action replaces hesitation, and joy replaces fear. By appreciating him, you're not just uplifting him, you're empowering him to step fully into his greatness. And here's the beautiful part. Appreciation benefits you too. When you focus on what's good, what's working, and what's worth celebrating, your perspective shifts. You begin to notice the positives more than the negatives, the strengths more than the weaknesses. This mindset transforms not only your relationship, but also your own life. Gratitude becomes a lens through which you view the world, filling it with light even during dark times. So as we delve deeper into understanding these dynamics, remember this. Appreciation is a superpower. It costs nothing, yet its value is immeasurable. It bridges gaps, heals wounds, and strengthens bonds in ways few other things can. When you choose to appreciate him not out of obligation, but from a place of authenticity, you create a ripple effect that touches every corner of your shared journey. Together, you build a legacy of love, respect, and unwavering support. We all wear masks, but behind them lies a truth that's both universal and deeply personal. No one is immune to self-doubt. Not even the strongest, most confident man you know. Beneath the surface of every decision he makes, every goal he chases, and every role he plays, there's a quiet battle being fought. A battle against his own insecurities. These doubts aren't flaws. They're part of being human. And when you understand this, you unlock a level of empathy that can transform your relationship in ways you never imagined. Self-doubt often whispers lies we're afraid to admit out loud. Am I good enough? Do I measure up? Will they see through me? For men, these questions carry extra weight. Because society has taught them to equate confidence with competence. When they falter or face setbacks, it doesn't just feel like failure. It feels like an identity crisis. This pressure to appear invincible can make self-doubt especially isolating for them. Instead of sharing their struggles, they bury them, hoping no one will notice. But here's the thing. You do notice. And when you choose to address it, not with judgment, but with compassion, you create a safe space where healing begins. Let's talk about how self-doubt manifests. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it hides behind overachievement, as if trying to prove something to the world or to themselves. Other times it shows up as hesitation, perfectionism, or even avoidance. What looks like laziness might actually be fear of failure. What seems like arrogance could be a fragile attempt to mask uncertainty. Recognizing these patterns allows you to respond with understanding rather than frustration. You stop seeing his actions as obstacles and start viewing them as opportunities to support him in rewriting his inner narrative. Now, here's the empowering part. Self-doubt isn't permanent. It's a chapter, not the entire story. And you have the power to help him turn the page. How? By reminding him of his strengths when he forgets them. By celebrating progress, no matter how small, instead of focusing solely on outcomes. By standing beside him not as a critic, but as a cheerleader who believes in his potential even when he struggles to believe in himself. These acts of encouragement don't just boost his confidence. They remind him that he's not alone in this journey. But let's not overlook the deeper lesson here. Self-doubt isn't something to erase. It's something to embrace. It's a sign that he cares, that he wants to grow, that he's willing to push beyond his comfort zone. Without it, there would be no growth, no evolution, no greatness. The key is learning to channel that doubt into determination, to use it as fuel rather than letting it become a barrier. When you help him reframe self-doubt from a source of shame into a stepping stone toward success, you equip him with a tool that will serve him for life. This process also strengthens your bond in profound ways. When someone shares their vulnerabilities with you and sees those vulnerabilities met with kindness, it creates a connection that runs soul deep. It builds trust, fosters intimacy, and reminds both of you that relationships aren't about perfection. They're about partnership. Together, you navigate the highs and lows, supporting each other through moments of doubt and triumph alike. So as we continue exploring these truths, hold on to this thought. Self-doubt is not the enemy, it's the teacher. It challenges us to dig deeper, to rise higher, and to discover the strength within ourselves. When you approach his insecurities with patience and grace, you don't just help him overcome them. You inspire him to become the best version of himself. And in doing so, you create a relationship rooted in mutual growth, unwavering support, and limitless possibility. Connection is the heartbeat of every meaningful relationship. It's what turns fleeting moments into lifelong memories, casual interactions into deep bonds, and strangers into soulmates. For men, this need for connection runs just as deep as it does for anyone else, perhaps even deeper, because it often goes unspoken. Beneath the surface of their actions, behind the roles they play, lies a quiet longing to be truly seen, heard, and understood. And when you tap into that desire, you unlock a level of intimacy that transforms everything. Think about the essence of connection. It's more than physical presence or shared activities. It's about emotional resonance, the feeling that someone genuinely gets you. Men crave this just as much as women do, but societal expectations often make it harder for them to express it openly. They're taught to prioritize logic over emotion, independence over vulnerability. Yet inside, they yearn for a space where they can drop the armor, where they don't have to carry the weight of always being strong. When you create that space, you offer them something priceless, permission to be human. But how do we foster this kind of connection? It starts with intentionality. Connection doesn't happen by accident. It's cultivated through small, deliberate acts. It's in the way you listen, not just to his words, but to the emotions beneath them. It's in the way you notice the little things, like when he lights up talking about something he loves, or when he seems quieter than usual. These moments matter because they show him that you care enough to pay attention, that you value who he is beyond what he does. Let's talk about the power of presence. In a world full of distractions, giving someone your undivided attention is one of the most powerful gifts you can offer. Put down the phone, set aside the to-do list, and simply be with him. Ask questions that invite him to open up, not out of obligation, but out of curiosity. What's been on your mind lately, or how did that make you feel? These simple inquiries send a clear message. I'm here, and I want to understand you. Over time, these conversations build trust, creating a foundation where deeper connection can flourish. Now, let's explore the role of shared experiences. Connection thrives when two people navigate life together, sharing joys, challenges, and everything in between. Whether it's working on a project side by side, taking a walk under the stars, or simply sitting in comfortable silence, these moments remind both of you that you're part of something bigger than yourselves. They reinforce the idea that relationships aren't just about individual growth, they're about growing together. And when a man feels like he has a true partner in you, someone who walks alongside him rather than ahead or behind, his sense of belonging deepens. Here's the beautiful truth. Connection isn't just about fulfilling an emotional need, it's about creating meaning. It's about building a life where both of you feel anchored, no matter how turbulent the waters may get. When a man knows he has someone who truly understands him, someone who stands by him through thick and thin, he finds purpose. He realizes that his struggles aren't just his own to bear, that his victories are sweeter when shared, and that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice you make every single day. So, as we dive further into understanding these dynamics, remember this: connection is the bridge that brings hearts closer. It's not built overnight, nor is it sustained without effort. But when nurtured with care, it becomes unshakable, a bond that withstands time, distance, and adversity. By choosing to connect deeply, authentically, and wholeheartedly, you don't just strengthen your relationship, you enrich your lives. You create a partnership rooted in mutual respect, unwavering support, and boundless love. Communication is the lifeblood of every relationship. Yet it's often where misunderstandings take root and grow. For men, communication isn't just about exchanging words, it's about feeling understood without having to say everything out loud. But here's the challenge. So many barriers stand in the way of open dialogue. Fear of judgment, pride, or even the belief that vulnerability equals weakness can keep them from sharing their true thoughts. Breaking through these barriers requires more than just talking. It demands intention, patience, and a willingness to truly listen. Let's start with the unspoken rules men often live by when it comes to communication. Society has taught them that silence is strength, that admitting confusion or doubt is a sign of inadequacy. As a result, they may bottle up emotions or avoid difficult conversations altogether, hoping the storm will pass on its own. But storms don't simply disappear, they linger, shaping behavior in ways that can strain relationships. When you recognize this pattern, you begin to see his silence not as rejection but as a call for understanding. You realize that behind every withheld word lies an opportunity to create space for honesty. Now let's talk about how to break down these walls. It begins with creating a safe environment, an atmosphere where he feels free to express himself without fear of criticism or dismissal. This doesn't mean forcing him to open up. It means inviting him to do so with kindness and patience. Ask open-ended questions that encourage reflection, like, "What's been weighing on your mind?" or "How can I support you right now?" These questions aren't interrogations. They're lifelines, offering him a chance to share what he might otherwise keep buried. But listening is just as important as asking. True listening goes beyond hearing words. It's about tuning into emotions, reading between the lines, and validating his experiences. When he speaks, resist the urge to interrupt, correct, or offer solutions immediately. Sometimes all he needs is someone who will sit with him in the discomfort, who will say, "I hear you and I'm here." This simple act of presence can dissolve years of built-up resistance, paving the way for deeper, more authentic conversations. There's another layer to consider: nonverbal communication. Words are only part of the story. Tone, body language, and energy play equally vital roles. A gentle touch, a warm smile, or maintaining eye contact can convey empathy and reassurance in ways words cannot. These subtle cues tell him that you're fully present, that you value not just what he says, but who he is. Over time, this consistency builds trust, making it easier for him to lower his guard and engage more openly. Now, let's reflect on the power of reframing communication. Instead of viewing it as a tool for solving problems, see it as a bridge for connection. Every conversation is an opportunity to strengthen your bond, to remind each other that you're teammates, not opponents. When disagreements arise, and they will, approach them with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? How can we grow closer through this challenge? Shifting your mindset transforms conflict from a source of division into a catalyst for unity. Finally, remember this: breaking down communication barriers isn't a one-time effort. It's a continuous process. It takes time, practice, and mutual commitment to foster an environment where both of you feel safe to express yourselves freely. But the rewards are immeasurable. Clear communication deepens intimacy, resolves misunderstandings before they escalate, and creates a foundation of trust that withstands any test. Together, you build a partnership rooted in transparency, respect, and unconditional support. A relationship where no wall is too high to climb. So as we move forward, carry this thought with you. Communication is more than words. It's the heartbeat of connection. By choosing to listen deeply, speak kindly, and honor each other's voices, you don't just overcome barriers, you create a bond that thrives on authenticity and love. Empathy is more than a word. It's a force. A quiet, powerful energy that has the ability to heal wounds, bridge divides, and transform relationships. When you choose empathy, you step into someone else's world without judgment, seeing their struggles through their eyes instead of your own. For men who often carry burdens silently, empathy isn't just appreciated, it's life-changing. It tells them that they don't have to face their battles alone, that someone understands, and that their pain matters. And when you wield empathy as your superpower, you create a bond so deep it can weather any storm. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on what empathy truly means. It's not about fixing problems or offering solutions right away. It's about being present, holding space for emotions, and letting him know he's not invisible. When he feels misunderstood or overwhelmed, empathy becomes the light in his darkness. It says, I see you. I hear you. You're not too much and you're not too little. You're human. This validation doesn't erase his struggles, but it gives him the strength to face them head on, knowing he has someone standing beside him. Now let's talk about how empathy transforms conflict. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship, but they don't have to destroy connection. In fact, handled with empathy, they can deepen it. Instead of reacting defensively, try to understand where he's coming from. What's really beneath his words? Is it frustration masking fear? Anger hiding hurt? When you approach conflicts with curiosity rather than criticism, you shift the dynamic entirely. You move from adversaries to allies, working together to find common ground. Empathy softens the edges of disagreement, turning tension into an opportunity for growth. But here's the beautiful part. Empathy isn't one-sided. When you practice it consistently, it inspires reciprocity. He begins to mirror your compassion, responding with patience and understanding in return. Over time, this creates a cycle of mutual care, a rhythm where both of you feel seen, heard, and valued. Relationships thrive in this kind of environment because empathy dismantles walls and builds bridges. It reminds you both that love isn't about perfection, it's about partnership. Let's also consider the ripple effect of empathy. When you lead with kindness and understanding, it doesn't just impact your relationship, it influences the way he interacts with the world. Men often model behavior based on what they experience at home. If he feels supported by you, he'll carry that sense of security into other areas of his life. He'll treat others with the same grace you've shown him, creating a chain reaction of positivity. Empathy becomes contagious, spreading far beyond the two of you and touching everyone around you. Now, let's address the courage it takes to be empathetic. True empathy requires vulnerability, opening yourself up to another person's pain without trying to control or fix it. It asks you to sit with discomfort, to hold space for emotions that may feel heavy or unfamiliar. But here's the truth. Every act of empathy strengthens your emotional muscles. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes, until it becomes second nature. And in doing so, you inspire him to do the same, to embrace vulnerability and lean into connection instead of pulling away. Finally, remember this. Empathy is a gift you give not only to him, but to yourself. When you choose to see the world through his eyes, you expand your own perspective. You learn to appreciate nuances, celebrate strengths, and navigate challenges with grace. Empathy enriches your life, filling it with deeper meaning and purpose. Together, you create a partnership rooted in unconditional support where no emotion is too big, no struggle too daunting, and no heart too broken to mend. So as we continue exploring these truths, carry this with you. Empathy is the thread that weaves hearts together. It's the language of love, spoken without words but felt deeply. By choosing to lead with empathy, you don't just strengthen your relationship, you elevate it. You build a foundation of trust, respect, and boundless compassion that will carry you through anything life throws your way. Every relationship is a garden, and like any garden, it requires care, attention, and intention to flourish. Stronger relationships aren't built overnight. They're nurtured over time through small, consistent actions that reflect love, trust, and understanding. For men who often struggle to articulate their emotional needs, these efforts become even more meaningful. When you invest in building a deeper connection, you don't just strengthen your bond, you create a sanctuary where both of you can thrive. Let's start with the foundation, mutual respect. Respect isn't just about agreeing with each other or avoiding conflict. It's about valuing each other's perspectives, even when they differ from your own. It's about honoring his individuality while celebrating the unity you share. When he feels respected, he naturally reciprocates, creating a cycle of admiration and appreciation. This mutual regard becomes the bedrock of your relationship, ensuring that no challenge shakes your core connection. Remember, respect doesn't demand perfection. It simply asks for acknowledgement of each other's humanity. Now, let's talk about trust, the invisible thread that holds relationships together. Trust isn't something you can force. It's earned through consistency and transparency. Show up for him, not just in big moments, but in the everyday ones too. Keep your promises, listen without judgment, and be someone he can rely on no matter what. When trust is strong, fear fades. He'll feel safe sharing his thoughts, dreams, and fears because he knows you'll meet him with empathy and support. Trust transforms relationships from fragile to unbreakable, creating a space where vulnerability flourishes. But how do we turn these ideals into action? It starts with presence, being fully engaged in the moments you share. Put away distractions. Look him in the eye and truly be there. Celebrate his victories, no matter how small, and stand by him during setbacks. These gestures might seem simple, but their impact is profound. They communicate a powerful message: you matter to me. Over time, these acts of devotion compound, weaving a tapestry of shared memories and unwavering support. Let's also consider the role of growth. Strong relationships aren't static. They evolve as people do. Encourage each other to pursue passions, learn new things, and step outside comfort zones. Growth isn't always easy. It often involves facing fears and embracing uncertainty. But when you grow together, you create a partnership that's dynamic and resilient. You inspire each other to become the best versions of yourselves, knowing that your love will only deepen as you both expand. There's another key ingredient to stronger relationships: gratitude. Gratitude shifts focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. Take time to acknowledge the little things, the way he makes you laugh, the effort he puts into helping others, the quiet strength he brings to your life. Expressing gratitude reminds both of you why you chose each other in the first place. It reignites sparks, rekindles joy, and reinforces the beauty of your connection. Finally, let's reflect on the power of patience. Building stronger relationships takes time, especially when navigating differences or healing past wounds. Be patient with him and encourage him to be patient with you too. Understand that everyone grows at their own pace and progress isn't always linear. By approaching challenges with calmness and compassion, you create an atmosphere where love can breathe freely, unburdened by unrealistic expectations. So as we continue this journey, carry this thought with you. Stronger relationships are built on respect, trust, presence, growth, gratitude, and patience. Each of these elements is a brick in the foundation of a love that lasts. By nurturing your connection with intention and care, you create a partnership that's not just enduring, but extraordinary. A relationship where both of you feel seen, valued, and deeply loved. Empowerment isn't just a word, it's a choice, a mindset, and a way of living that transforms not only individuals, but also the relationships they share. When you choose to empower someone, you're not handing them strength. You're helping them uncover the power they already possess. For men, this act of empowerment is especially profound because it speaks directly to their deepest desires. To feel capable, valued, and purposeful. By embracing understanding as your tool, you become a catalyst for growth, not just in him, but in yourself and in the bond you both cherish. Let's start by redefining what empowerment truly means. It's not about control or authority. It's about creating opportunities for someone to rise, to step into their potential without fear of judgment or failure. When you approach a man with empathy and insight, you give him permission to be vulnerable while simultaneously reminding him of his resilience. You show him that his struggles don't define him, they refine him. This perspective shift is liberating, allowing him to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones toward greatness. Now, let's talk about the ripple effect of empowerment. When you empower someone, you ignite a spark within them, a fire that fuels confidence, courage, and action. Imagine the impact when he realizes you believe in him even more than he believes in himself. That belief becomes a mirror, reflecting back his untapped potential. He begins to take risks, pursue dreams, and embrace change with a sense of purpose he may have doubted was possible. And here's the beautiful part. As he grows stronger, so does your relationship. Empowerment creates a cycle where both of you inspire and elevate each other, building a partnership rooted in mutual admiration and trust. But how do we practice empowerment effectively? It starts with seeing beyond surface-level behaviors and focusing on the person beneath. Instead of reacting to frustration or withdrawal, ask yourself, what's driving this moment? Is it insecurity, fear of inadequacy, a need for validation? Once you identify the root cause, you can respond with encouragement rather than criticism. For example, if he hesitates to take on a new challenge, remind him of past successes. Say, "I've seen you overcome so much before. You've got this." These words aren't just affirmations, they're anchors that ground him in his own strength. Let's also explore the importance of celebrating effort over outcome. Too often, success is measured by results alone, leaving little room for progress or growth. But empowerment thrives on recognizing the journey, the hard work, determination, and grit it takes to keep moving forward. When you acknowledge his efforts, no matter how small, you reinforce the idea that growth is valuable in itself. This mindset shifts the focus from perfection to persistence, teaching him and yourself that every step counts, every attempt matters, and every stumble is a lesson learned. There's another layer to empowerment, leading by example. When you embody the qualities you wish to see in him, confidence, authenticity, and resilience, you create a blueprint for greatness. Your actions speak louder than words, showing him what's possible when you live with intention and purpose. Whether it's pursuing your passions, setting healthy boundaries, or practicing self-care, your choices inspire him to do the same. Together, you create a culture of empowerment where both of you are encouraged to dream bigger, reach higher, and become better versions of yourselves. Now, let's reflect on the transformative power of shared goals. Empowerment isn't just about individual growth. It's about growing together. When you align your aspirations and support each other's ambitions, you build a partnership that's unstoppable. Set goals as a team, whether it's improving communication, planning for the future, or simply spending more quality time together. Celebrate milestones along the way, knowing that every achievement strengthens your connection. Shared success fosters unity, reminding both of you that you're not just partners, your teammates. Finally, let's consider the legacy of empowerment. Every time you choose to uplift someone, you leave an imprint that extends far beyond the present moment. The man you empower today will carry that strength into every area of his life, his career, his friendships, his family. He'll model the compassion and support you've shown him, creating a ripple effect that touches countless lives. And in doing so, you contribute to something greater than yourselves. A world where people lift each other up, where vulnerability is celebrated, and where love becomes a force for change. So as we bring this exploration to a close, hold on to this truth. Empowerment is the ultimate gift you can give someone. It's not about fixing or changing them. It's about believing in them so deeply that they begin to believe in themselves. By choosing to empower him through understanding, patience, and unwavering support, you create a relationship that transcends ordinary connections. You build a bond founded on trust, respect, and limitless possibility. A bond where both of you can thrive, individually and together. Strength isn't found in standing alone. It's discovered in the moments when we choose to stand together. Unity is the heartbeat of every meaningful relationship, the invisible force that binds hearts and souls in ways words often fail to capture. It's what transforms two individuals into a team, two lives into one shared journey. And at the core of unity lies an undeniable truth. When we embrace each other's vulnerabilities, celebrate each other's strengths, and face the world side by side, we create something extraordinary. A bond unshaken by time, trials, or distance. Let's begin by reflecting on the essence of unity. It's not about losing yourself in another person. It's about finding harmony between your individuality and your connection. For men, who are often conditioned to navigate life as solitary figures, unity offers something rare and precious. Permission to lean on someone else without guilt or shame. When you step into his world with empathy and understanding, you remind him that strength isn't diminished by partnership, it's amplified. Together you become more than the sum of your parts, creating a synergy where both of you can shine brighter than ever before. Now let's talk about the power of collaboration. Life is filled with challenges, moments that test our resolve, stretch our limits, and push us to grow. But facing these challenges alone can feel overwhelming, even isolating. That's where unity steps in. When you approach life as a team, difficulties lose their weight because they're no longer carried by one person. They're shared. This doesn't mean taking over his burdens or solving his problems for him. Instead, it means walking beside him, offering support without overshadowing his ability to rise. Collaboration reminds us that we're stronger together, that love isn't just a feeling, it's an action, a commitment to stand firm through every storm. But unity isn't just about weathering storms, it's about savoring sunshine too. Celebrating victories, no matter how small, becomes infinitely sweeter when shared. Did he accomplish a goal, overcome a fear, simply show up despite feeling low? These moments deserve recognition, not just for what they represent, but for the effort behind them. By celebrating together, you reinforce the idea that success isn't measured by external markers, but by the joy and growth it brings to your shared life. Unity turns achievements into milestones, reminders of how far you've come and how much further you can go. Let's also consider the role of trust in fostering unity. Trust is the glue that holds relationships together, the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, even the strongest connections risk crumbling under pressure. But trust isn't static. It grows through consistent actions, open communication, and mutual respect. When you demonstrate reliability, honesty, and compassion, you create an environment where unity thrives. He learns to rely on you not out of necessity, but out of choice, knowing that your presence is steady, unwavering, and genuine. In turn, he reciprocates, building a cycle of trust that strengthens your bond with each passing day. There's another dimension to unity that often goes overlooked: the beauty of imperfection. No relationship is flawless, nor should it be. Perfection isn't the goal. Growth is. Unity flourishes when both partners embrace mistakes as opportunities to learn, disagreements as chances to deepen understanding, and setbacks as stepping stones towards something greater. When you view challenges through this lens, they cease to be threats to your connection. Instead, they become catalysts for transformation, tools that help you grow closer rather than drift apart. Now, let's reflect on the transformative power of gratitude within unity. Gratitude has a way of shifting focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. It reminds you to cherish the present moment, to appreciate the person standing beside you, and to acknowledge the countless ways your lives intertwine. Take time to express gratitude, not just for grand gestures, but for the everyday acts of kindness, patience, and love that often go unnoticed. A simple thank you can carry immense weight, reinforcing the value of your connection and reminding both of you why you chose each other in the first place. But here's the profound truth. Unity isn't just about strengthening your relationship. It's about contributing to a greater purpose. The lessons you learn, the love you cultivate, and the challenges you overcome together ripple outward, touching everyone around you. Think about it. When two people commit to growing together, they inspire others to do the same. Friends, family, colleagues all witness the power of unity in action. They see how vulnerability becomes strength, how empathy builds bridges, and how love transforms lives. In doing so, you leave a legacy far beyond yourselves, a testament to the beauty of human connection. Finally, let's talk about the enduring nature of unity. Life is unpredictable, full of twists and turns that can test even the strongest bonds. Yet, unity provides a compass, guiding you back to each other no matter how far apart circumstances may pull you. It reminds you that love isn't fleeting, it's eternal, not in the sense of permanence, but in the sense of resilience. Love evolves, adapts, and endures because it's rooted in a shared commitment to grow, to heal, and to thrive together. Unity ensures that no matter what comes your way, you'll face it as one, hand in hand, heart to heart. So, as we bring this exploration to its culmination, carry this thought with you. Unity is the cornerstone of lasting connection. It's the quiet promise that says, we're in this together. It's the courage to embrace vulnerability while celebrating strength, the wisdom to lead with empathy, and the grace to forgive imperfections. Unity transforms relationships from ordinary to extraordinary, turning moments into memories, struggles into triumphs, and love into legacy. By choosing unity, you don't just build a relationship, you create a masterpiece, a symphony of trust, respect, and boundless possibility that echoes through time. Remember this, the journey doesn't end here. Every day presents a new opportunity to nurture your connection, to empower each other, and to write another chapter in your shared story. With unity as your guide, there's nothing you can't achieve, no challenge you can't overcome, and no dream too big to chase. Together, you rise higher, grow stronger, and live fuller. Proof that true strength lies not in standing alone, but in standing united.